Hey y'all, IrixGuy here, and I'm the host of IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. And if you're not already familiar with it, that's youtube.com/IrixGuy. You can also just go to IrixGuy.com and find all of my creations there. But what I want to talk about within this video is career advice, because a lot of people have asked, they're like, man, when I go to college, what should I major in? Or, I don't know, man, is college worth it? Should I do this or should I do that? What I'm going to share with you is my personal opinion in regards to how to develop oneself professionally within that professional career space. Now, there's a lot of different theories as to how to get there most quickly. And it's not always getting there first. Success when it comes to business is about scale. Now, if you're not familiar with scale basically means how rapidly, and let's just give a very basic example here. So let's say for your first venture that you make $1. And let's say 3 months later, you're at $1.10. Well, that's not, it's a 10% increase, 10% of the dollar that was originally made. But in 3 months, is that really that good? So let's put it into some real numbers here. Let's look at the first venture that one becomes involved with, and let's say they're making. Let's just get something kind of on the lower end. Let's say, I don't know. Let's say 20,000 US a year, and let's say the next year maybe they're up to 21,000, and then the next year maybe 21,400. Or something along those lines. In that example, that venture would probably not be something that person would be, it would probably not be in their best interest to continue to pursue and to continue to try to incubate that venture, because it's not scaling that well. An example of a business that seems to be scaling well would be one that starts at let's say it starts around $20,000 the first year, and then let's say the next year that it jumps to $140,000. And then the next year it jumps to $200,000. And then the next year it jumps to $600,000. So in that scenario, that's quite considerable scale. In business, career, when you think of career, and this is what I want to, and by the way, all these numbers are just random numbers that I've thrown out. But when I talk about career, a lot of people, they think, okay, I'm going to major in major X. And then I'm going to get job A based upon a BS, or I'm going to get job B based upon a master's. Or if I even take it to the next level, maybe I could get job C. And in the past, when I mean the past, I mean, let's say 60 or so years ago, that was kind of the path that was kind of the way a career worked, because people were entitled to certain opportunities based upon their degree, but based upon their major, and based upon, hey, did they get a BS? Did they get a master's? Did they get a doctorate? What did they get? And that heavily dictated how quickly they could scale within that organization. Now, what's different today is that today's world is an entrepreneurial playing field. Now, if you're not familiar with entrepreneurship, it's basically saying risk it all, or there's a considerable amount of risk, and just go out and explore an unknown territory. So, for example, the first person that, and I'll just throw a few examples out here, companies like Netflix. Somebody dreamed that up. Well, let's see, video rentals are kind of, all the video rental stores, the brick and mortar, is going out of business. How about we drop it in a mailbox to where people don't even have to go to the store? Look at that company. The entrepreneur that invented Netflix, and I don't even know their name, and I apologize for that, but that's just one fine example of a successful venture. Another one would be GoPro camera. Nick Woodman, the CEO of GoPro. He is one of my, I've got several role models, and actually Bill Gates has been for a long time, and Steve Ballmer, and then obviously Steve Jobs, and Nick Woodman is one of the newer, one of the younger people that I consider to be one of those professional personalities to really look, analyze, and learn. How do they do it? And I mean, Nick Woodman was just he was a surfer, and he wanted to capture those moments on the surfboard, and now you've got GoPro. And now, from a financial perspective, that's someone that's set for life. So career should be what one makes it. If one chooses to, if they don't really have the inner drive to do something and they just want to get by, that's perfectly acceptable. Because I know a lot of people that I went to college with that are doing really well and they're happy and they've got everything they want and need. But if you want a little bit more, if you want to really challenge not only yourself, but challenge the business world that you live within, if you want to challenge that, you've got to think outside the box. Think outside of the box in a creative way, but not just a creative way that's so obscure that other people won't be receptive of the idea or the ideas. Because if it's an idea that's so out there, let's just come up with it, and I'm pulling this out of my head right now as we continue this this presentation. But someone that orders a pizza, and let's say on every little piece of pizza crust, they wanted a little logo. That may not be that effective, because ultimately the person is going to eat the pizza. Putting that logo on the pizza crust is going to increase the production cost of the pizza, because they're going to have to make sure that when it's cooked, it's somehow imprinted into the crust. But from a marketing perspective, it still could be a good idea, because can you imagine, say for example, a pizza, or not just one pizza, let's say a whole 50 pizzas. It's going to some sort of function. You've got the pizza box. You've got the branding on the pizza box. But then everyone that gets a slice of pizza, or if someone else goes to the box and brings a pizza back to someone else, that person's not going to see the pizza. They're going to eat it, and when they do, they're going to see that branding right there. So that's just a wild example, and I just thought that up on the fly. So maybe someone's done it, maybe someone hasn't. If you're watching this and you use that idea, please contact me first. I don't cook pizzas, but I could cook pizzas if that was something that you felt was worth pursuing. But the best thing is, with entrepreneurship, is that you control your own destiny. So you're going to fail. You're going to fail a lot. And you're going to have a bunch of ideas. And not everybody's going to fail. Somebody will hit it big the first time. But more than likely, what will happen is that you'll fail. And you'll get disappointed. It's like, man, I wanted that to work so bad. And that's a crutch that a lot of people have. They say, oh, I put X amount of hours and X amount of days into whatever. When it comes to success, it doesn't matter if it's 30 seconds a day or 24 hours a day. Because when it comes to success, it's the product that matters. So always remember that. And typically when you hear people within a professional realm that are talking about hours and this, that, and the other, that's another way of people saying that they're not happy, they're not successful. That's just code for saying, oh man, I did this, and that. It's just code for saying that they somehow failed. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship, is that what you can do, if you challenge yourself and you think outside of the box, you can really create something that ultimately from a career, obviously you want to have financial rewards. Because if you don't, you're wasting your time, and your time is limited. So what I suggest is really following, not chasing after the money. And you may have heard something similar to this before, but don't chase after the money. Find those opportunities and chase after the passion. Because if you're passionate about something, then in turn what you can do is receive recognition, and that recognition for that passion can then somehow be monetized. Most everything in this world can be monetized in one way or another. So always think about that. If you're passionate about something, how many other people are passionate about it, and how many other people within that same playing field actually act upon their passion and create a brand of sorts surrounding that passion. So basically they become their own ambassador of whatever brand. And this may be, you may be a little bit confused right now, you may be a little bit intrigued, and I hope you're a combination of both, because there is not a manual for how to become part of the perfect career. There's a lot of books, there are a lot of people, there's a lot of success stories out there, but when it comes down to it, if you really want to not just be happy, you want to be something else. You want to be something greater than normal from a success perspective professionally. The way to do it is just really think outside of the box, follow the passion, embrace feedback from others, and then just really lead by example. Because once you create your first venture, even if it's a failure, you've still learned and you've still garnered that recognition. And if it's successful, you've garnered that recognition and people are like, wow, how'd you do this? How do you do that? You become a teacher. You yourself become a role model for your people. So it's really, it's not about, and this is what I always focus upon, it's not about the dollars. It's not about the dollars, it's not about the hours, it's not about the, well, I've done this or I've done that. It's about the inner drive and challenging yourself. Because ultimately, if you don't challenge yourself, nobody else is, because that's not, there's no value in that. Now, once you create a very well-established brand, then obviously that's going to create the demand for competition. There's going to be people and or organizations are going to try to somehow reverse engineer that success, and they're going to try to create competition. And competition is a healthy thing, because what competition does is that it causes people to innovate even more. And that heightened degree of innovation leads to even more greater successes within the career realm. So it's not about, college is very important. I'm an advocate of college. I went to college, and I'm glad I did, and I learned a lot, and I had a lot of good times. So college is important, even if college for you isn't because you want to be the person that fits into, oh, my degree is blah, or blah, 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 and I'm going to do blah, blah, blah. Even if you don't come from that school of thought, if you're like, college is a waste of time because I know that I'm going to create my own empire, and I'm going to do it in my own mind, and there's not a degree out there that could teach me how to do what I already know how to do. Even if you have that even if you possess that train of thinking, I would still challenge everyone, go to college, just go and explore different majors, even if you don't have any interest in any of them. Explore those majors and ultimately have a good time. Meet a lot of people, because I will tell you, the people that you meet in college, you will have lasting relationships with for the rest of your life, and they're people you'll stay in touch with, and you will learn from their successes, they will learn from your successes. It's a great thing to be part of. But ultimately, don't chase the money, chase the passion. And don't chase the, well, I need to do this, so I've got to get X major. Don't chase the scripted, this is how life should be. Chase after your passion. Number one, find your passion. What are you passionate about? Find out how to monetize your passions. And then find out how to package all of that into something that can become I like to refer to as a gateway to freedom. Because if you're constantly strapped, and you know that well, if I get this degree and I get this job, in 10 years I'm going to make X amount or whatever, you're constantly chained. You're enslaved by whatever that can provide. But if you think outside of the box and you know what's coming and you know how to anticipate future trends, who would have seen the internet? A lot of people did. What's the next internet? Forward thinkers that aren't afraid to put a little bit of risk on the table. And I'm not talking about risk where you're saying, oh, okay, well, if I fail with this, then I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose my apartment, and I'm going to lose my car. I'm not talking about that degree of risk. But what I'm talking about is a reasonable degree of risk where one can say, well, if I fail with this, then maybe instead of eating dinner out one night a week, maybe we won't eat dinner out that many nights a week because we won't have the money because I failed with this business venture. But don't worry, because when I try the business venture number 2, I'm going to make all that back and then some. So have that attitude. But don't put yourself into a hole from a financial perspective or a career perspective, because someone that constantly fails and they feel that, well, if I spend more time on this, then I can dig this out. Know when to step away. Because if you've got a venture and it's not scaling, know when to step away and move on to the next one. And that's a mistake I've seen a lot of people make. They've got the best idea, they're 120% passionate about it, but they just can't take it out of the grave. I mean, they pull it out and you start to see the hand come up, and then it goes back down and all the dust goes around. Some ideas just don't work. And even if they work for you, not everyone's like you. So it's got to be an idea that is well perceived by the masses. Not the masses, but just a somewhat decent sized sampling of the total population. So at least there's a market for whatever product and or service that someone is working to incubate and raise exposure for. So hope this video is of value. I know I get a lot of comments on my channel. I like to consider myself just to be an average dude. I have a good time with what I'm doing, and a lot of it is kind of silly. I'll admit I post some silly videos on IrixGuy Adventure channel. It's across the board content, but everything that I post is me. Whether I'm in a serious mood or a goofy mood, and if I want to speak very properly or if I want to use a bunch of slang like "how y'all doing," I don't care. Yeah, buddy, I can do whatever I want to do because that's me, and I control my own destiny. So I appreciate your viewership, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. It's youtube.com/IrixGuy. Y'all have a good day.